Hello and welcome back. In this video we're going to learn about basics of database concept. We won't cover everything, but I want to look at just basics of database concepts and how we can normalize our database, what the meaning of normalization, what is things like what is meant by redundancy, what's meant by data inconsistency, all those stuff. We're going to look at them. So it won't be like a formal class, but we're going just to discuss and look at different situations that may happen when we are when you're creating our databases, and how to solve those situations. So it's going to be just a discussion. So let's start. We're going to look at different scenarios that happen when you're designing our databases and the solutions for those scenarios. So I have no time to waste. Let's get started. So I've opened my this is a plain document, a software document. I'm just going to use it to present, not to show something that we need to do in our projects. No, this is just for presentation purposes. No big deal. So let me try to make the margin to be a little bit smaller, so that we can have enough space to practice from. Let me select this narrow margin. Okay, so there we go. Now I'm going to begin with looking at a shop scenario. Assume that you're having a shop, okay, and we want to design a database for that shop. Well, take a big container, man. Going to bring fresh water. Okay, so assume that we want to do what? To design a database for the shop. So we're going to look at the different scenarios of shop database. I hope this is recording. Okay, so what I'm going to do, assume that you have a shop. We're going to make a shop database. So we'll need to record this data somewhere, so that we should just be selecting that data from a database and present it to our customers. For example, when a customer orders a certain product, we should be able to record his address, his name, his phone number, and his contact. Is his name, his address, and the product that he has ordered. Okay, so that can be like when a customer places an order, and when you add a product into our shop, you need to record this product's details. For example, the name of this product and the price of this product, as well as maybe the supplier's name who gave us this product. So we need to desire to record this information in a database. So of course, to record information in database, we need a table. So assume that table is called shop data, or whatever we call it, or I can call it data. And we call it data table, and we're going to be recording our data in this. Our data in this table. So I'm going to insert a table here. I'm going to create just a very wide table because we're going to record all of the information that we're going to look at. So this is going to be our title. It's going to be our title here, and I'm going to put here. Let me highlight so that we should know that it's different from title. From other data columns. Okay, so we'll begin here. What shall we put? Maybe we'll begin with a customer ID. Maybe we want to record the ID of this customer. We want to give the ID to a customer so that we should know that this customer is a unique customer. So I'll begin by giving maybe let me call him customer ID. So after giving the customer ID, what else? We'll need to record the customer name. So I'll just put here customer name. Okay, let me just do like this. Customer name. Oh, let me remove this highlighting so that it should be clear first. We come here to highlight and remove this highlighting. Okay. Highlight. Let me keep it clear. Okay. So we have the customer name, customer ID. Okay, let me just put space because you don't understand. You might not be understanding why you put the underscores, but let me, for the sake of you being new, so I'll just put space. So record the customer name, record the customer ID. I'll record customer address where he lives and where he has ordered the product from, and then we'll also record maybe the customer contact. So might be enough information that we may need to record about the customer. You can put your customer contact. So after putting customer contact, what else? We now need to, when you record a product, so we need to also record the product. Okay, so to record a product, of course we will have different products in our shop, so we need to record this product in our shop. So I'll come and put here maybe product name. So after putting product name, I'll come and put product. Okay, let me begin with product ID, and then product name. Then after product name, we have product price. Okay, price, maybe also product supplier. Okay, supplier. So that's it. Okay, so those are two entities that we can record. Sometimes also we may need to record an order, because when a customer places an order, we need to record the product that he ordered. So each order will have a what? Will have an ID. So I can say order ID. Okay, so and each order will have a what? Will have a list of products. Okay, assume that this list will not record all of them at once. We just put them maybe in a string or in an array and save this list to the what? To a database. Or let me just say each order will have a what? Each product will have a specific order. So you can say order product. Okay, so the product that has been ordered, and we need to record the customer who has ordered this product. So who has ordered this product? So order customer order or whatever. So because this any order must have a what? A customer who has ordered it. Okay. So and remember, when you put a customer order, remember this customer order will have to put customer orders name, customer orders contact, customer. But for the sake of space, let me leave there. I'll just say assume that a customer will have to submit all his information and you put it in one place. So for now, that's it. Now that's our table. We have designed our table. Now the question is, now we need to start inserting the data in our table. Let me highlight this that you should know that it's a little bit. Okay, let me set them to be bold and increase their font maybe. Okay, so that's our title. That's our title. That's why I'm doing that. Let me also maybe highlight it. Okay, with some simple gray to show that it is a what? It is a title. Okay, so those are our titles for our table. So this is the kind of table that we'll have in a in a database. Now the first thing now, in a shop, before we record anything, we first record a product, because without a product, a customer won't buy. A customer won't have anything to buy, and without a product, a customer will have nothing to place in in his order. So we have to record the product first. So let us begin recording the product. So I'll skip up to the line of of product. So when I record a product, I'll need to record a product name. For example, a product ID. For example, our product is 001. So the product name, maybe the product name will be rice. Then the product price. So 1 kilogram of rice, maybe 2,500. Okay. So that's 1 kilogram of rice. Let us record another product. Supplier, maybe supplier, can call him Mohindo. That's the one who supplied us. Okay, that's one product. Let us record another product. So I'll come and put maybe product 002, and then I come and put maybe this. I'm going to call it sugar. And then after, I will have to put maybe the price of sugar 1,500, and maybe it is the same supplier who gave us. No, let us put another supplier here. Okay, let's say it's the same supplier, so I'll put same supplier. Okay, so after, let me insert more columns because we're going to need more data. So there we go. So let us record some more products, like more too. So I'll come and copy this and put there 3, and then I'm going to put salt. After salt, I'll put the price of salt, maybe 500, and then maybe I'll put the name who supplied us the salt. Maybe I also record sugar 004, and price of I'll put sugar. I've already put it. Maybe I can put soap, and then price of soap maybe 700, and then the one who's supplying gas is maybe Kool-Aid. And then lastly, let me record just one more product, and another product is called to be 005. That's the ID of a product, and the name of this product. Which product should I put? I should put maybe what let me choose a common thing that I always use. Okay, let me say coffee. Okay, coffee, and maybe the price is 1000. Again, also the one who supplies us maybe is Mohindo again. Okay, so how to put supplier contact, supplier name, supplier address, but for the sake of space I won't do that. But that was supposed to be done. Okay, that is what was supposed to be done, because okay, let me add supplier, product supplier. I'll make this one product supplier product supplier name. Okay, product supplier name. So product supplier contact, and then lastly maybe again a product who supplies a product. Maybe we'll need also his address. Okay, address. Okay, so now let us fill this information. Maybe I can put Kasese, that is where I live. That's where I live. I can put this one that is okay. Let me put another one. Maybe this one comes from Kampala. Kampala. This is address, not contact. Okay, contact. Maybe put 077 whatever. Okay, let's say this is his contact, and that is his address. So that is called Kule. So this one I'll put his contact 00. Okay, and it comes from Kasese. So I'll copy. I'll paste here, and then I paste here. Now let's say this one is 0 whatever, that is phone number, and let's say he comes from what? From Ginger. Okay, so that's the information for my product. So not simple. Okay, it's not simple. So after feeding in the information for the products, what else? We now go ahead and feed in the information for okay, now let us say that we have now a customer. We have a customer, and we need to record the information of this customer separately. So what do? We have to put the customer name. So let us put some customer. So let me say Bira. Customer is called, oh no, this is the name. So customer ID is maybe 001 also, and his name is called Bira, the customer name, and then the address is called maybe the address is, okay, I'll put the address later. So this is Bira. Let's get another customer. Have to put maybe Halima. Put 2, and then let's put another customer. Maybe have another customer 0043. I'll call this customer Mariam. Okay, so we're seeing how we're feeding the data. So let us feed another data. Let us give them addresses. For example, this address, I'll say it comes from what? From what? From where? From London. and then let's say this one comes from UK, I mean maybe New York. Let's say this one comes from what, California. Okay, so I don't know why it's complaining. Okay, don't mind about the spellings. Okay, so the contacts, just put the contacts. Okay, they are contacts. The contacts, just put some random number, and then we're going to discuss about this table. I would have recorded this table before the video and I feed the data, but since this video is meant for you to understand the concept, so I decided to just do what, to just do it while you're watching, so that you should be part of the what, of the whole journey. So there we go. So let me insert some more columns. You see, we need more columns. Okay, so now let us elaborate the order. Now, of course, when we have to record some orders sometimes, so maybe the customer ordered some products, so we can put 00, maybe 001. This is the first order, and then maybe he bought this order, I mean this customer bought salt, and then the customer name maybe is maybe Halima. Okay, let us get maybe Halima. I can put maybe comma, maybe it can be an array. I can put from London, and I can put maybe her contact number, which is this one. I'll assume that's it. So I'll press enter and put there. So maybe that is one order. So when is Halima ordered for salt, we'll select this one, and then we'll know that he ordered this information. So let's get another product, I mean another order. So I'll make this order to have an ID of order ID 2, and then let us say this one bought soap, I mean soap, and maybe same customer. Then I'll place another order, order 3, and let us say this customer bought coffee, and then this customer is Mariam, maybe from California. That's the spelling of California. California. Okay, so California, and that's our contact. So that's another order. So let us put one just more order, just one more order. So come and paste here, and let us say this is same customer, okay, and maybe she bought what? She bought sugar. Okay, so now it's time to discuss. It's now time to do what? To discuss. So that's our table, and that's our table. So this table we can perfectly do it in our database. In the previous video, we discussed about SQLs and how to create tables and how to select data from tables. So you can create such a table in our database, where we'll be recording the data. But remember, there is a problem whereby we can have a worst or a bad table, and a good way of recording data and a bad way of recording data. For example, this table, yes, we have recorded data, it can store information, but it has problems, and these are the problems that we're going to discuss together and see their possible solutions. So let us first look at our table and see what could be the problem with it. Well, it is recording data. As you can see, it is saving data perfectly. Now, let us look at the problems. The first problem is the wastage of space. Wastage of space, like we call it redundancy. Data redundancy, wastage of space. Assume that we are recording an order. Okay, let us say we are recording a product. For example, this product. And this is the only information that we need to know about a product. But see what happens. When you record a product, there is some space that has been left empty because it is invalid. Those spaces are invalid for the what? For a product. For example, you can see this space, all of this cell, this cell is invalid for this particular product. Okay, so let me select and highlight it. You see, all this place is done what? Is invalid. It has been wasted. For what? For a product. Can you see? So this space is wasted, as well as this space is wasted, because product does not have these fields. So this is a problem. That's problem number one. So you can imagine all this space are wasted. Okay, wasted, and here is wasted, and here is wasted. So that is the first problem. Like if we don't design our tables properly, we will waste space, and that's what we call, is it what we call redundancy? Yeah, data redundancy. Like it is redundant, this place is left redundant, so we waste our space. So for each record that we enter, it will be wasting the space. Okay, so that is the first problem, and we're going to see how we can fix it. How can we fix that problem? Like if I enter this information, we should not waste any space. So that's one problem. We will see how to record it, how to fix it. Likewise, when you enter this customer information, still we did a problem. We did a what? We wasted space. Can you see? When we enter in customer information, you don't need again to enter the product ID, because this is a customer and it does not have a field of product ID. So that is another space wasted. Can you see? That's another space wasted. This is another space wasted. You can see all these are space wasted. You can, okay, I know you can use your common sense to find out the spaces that are wasted. So I'll not point out every space that is wasted for the sake of video length. Okay, but I hope you've got the point. Like if we design our table badly, the space will be wasted, and that's what we call redundancy. The space will be redundant. Okay, so we can imagine how even the space that is wasted look to be large than the space that than the data that we entered. Something very, very bad. That well, space wastage is really, really bad, because we may run out of resource for just empty spaces that are wasted for nothing. So we'll see how we'll solve that problem. So problem number one, wastage of space. You can call it data redundancy. Okay, so that's redundancy. You can put bracket, space, wastage. Okay, that is problem number one. Let us look at problem number two. Problem number two is that we have repeated ourselves. For example, you see when we recorded this product, rice, we were having a place where we're recording the supplier's information. Can you see this supplier information? But there are some situations whereby the supplier gives us more than one item, or we buy more than one item from one particular supplier. So what does it mean? We'll end up repeating ourselves. Can you see? I have repeated here, yet it is the same information here. Okay, so if this is the same information, let me change the color here. Repetition, we have repeated ourselves. You see? You see? I've repeated myself here, and I've repeated myself here, because this is exactly the same supplier. Okay? It means that this space is also wasted. Okay? So wastage, repeating ourselves may lead to what? May lead to wastage of space. So let us see, before we note down, let us see another place where we repeated ourselves. So here we repeated ourselves. Conk we repeated ourselves. Even here, did we repeat ourselves? No. But in case like someone came from the same city, two people came from the same city, then we could have repeated ourselves. Where else did we repeat ourselves? Okay, you see, this customer is called Mariam, at the same time Mariam. So she bought two different products, and we ended up repeating the same data. Yes, we are recording this data in the same database. So why couldn't we find a way that we write this data once, and in case of repeating ourselves, we reference to the data that was there before, and we don't repeat ourselves. So that is the second problem, repetition of ourselves. So if I repeat myself, I'll end up wasting another space. So I'll just put here repetition, repetition. Is it the spelling? I hope so. That leads up repetition. What's the repetition? I don't know the right spelling, but you've got the point. And this repetition of ourselves, it leads to what? It leads to wastage of space. Wastage. Then put wastage of space. Okay. So that is the first problem. If you repeat yourself, you'll waste space. If we had keep this space somewhere, we couldn't have repeat. I mean, if we keep this, we kept this space somewhere. I mean, this data somewhere of a particular supplier, and then in case of repeating ourselves, we just reference that data, then we could have saved this space other than repeating ourselves. So that is the first problem of repetition. And another problem of repetition is, let me just make this on another list, and I'll do it like this. Okay, good. Okay, so repetition leads to what? Wastage of space. And another repetition is, it leads to data inconsistency. I hope, yeah. Oh, wrong spelling. Okay, I'll fix it. Inconsistence. Okay, repetition of ourselves leads to what? To data inconsistent. So what is data inconsistent? Like the data will not be consistent. Now assume that the data will contradict itself one time. Assume that a supplier gives us 50 different products, and one day he changed the phone number. So we'll have to update all the places where this supplier's phone number exists. You see that problem? So it means that if we accidentally just maybe update one space, and we forget to update another space, like here, another field, yet it is the same supplier, so it means that this data will contradict itself. One will say that supplier has a new number, and another data will say that the supplier does not have. I mean, it's still using the old number, just in case we forget to update, or in case that when it is updating and an error occurs before the SQL finishes to execute, it will end up not doing what? Not updating the entire process, and we lose. I mean, we get the data inconsistency, whereby some parts are updated and some other parts are not updated. So that is a consistency of data, is inconsistent of data. Like data is not consistent, is not tallying. Data is contradicting itself. It is inconsistent. So that, I mean, wrong or bad design of database can also lead to what? To data inconsistent, whereby we can update one space and forget to update the other. Or when we are filling this customer's information, assume that we are entering another product. So we fill here the customer information, and when we are filling another product that we get from this supplier, we mistakenly write one number badly, or his address we write it badly. For example, I just put like this. So what does it mean? It means that this data is already contradicting with the same data, yet it's the same customer. So what could be the solution? If we got another way a way whereby we read this customer data once, then it means that the mistake will be written once, and once we want to correct this mistake, we will correct this mistake only one time. So if we repeat ourselves, it may lead to hardship when we are changing the information, or when we are feeding the information. So those are the two main problems, or two main challenges that we face when designing our database. A good database design should not have these problems, like we should not repeat ourselves, and we should not waste space. Otherwise, if we waste space, it may lead, if we repeat ourselves, it may lead to wastage of space, and also lead to what? To data inconsistent. Data inconsistent, the situation whereby the data of a certain entity, or of a certain entry, is not tallying. We have one particular customer, but one row, because we have different rows that are referencing customers' contact. Assume that you have 1,000 rows, but you'll find that when you're entering 1,000 rows, we may make a mistake, and then that mistake will contradict others, and that is what we refer to data inconsistent. One of the information is correct and the other is wrong, yet it is about one particular customer. So those are the main problems of database designing. Okay, so the thing is, we need to see how we solve these problems. So to solve these problems, first of all, we have to use more than one table. Okay, we have to use more than one table. Remember, in your database, you are allowed to create as many tables as you want. So why would you limit yourself to feed all your data in one table? That is the first challenge. So you have to create more than one table, whereby each entity that needs separate data will put it in its own table to avoid repetition. For example, when you're going to design a database, the first thing that you do, you should note this down. The first thing that you do when you're going to design a database, please listen, is to first realize which entities or which objects are you going to deal with in your project. You have to first know which objects, which entities, we call them entities, are you going to use in your project. An entity is like a particular object, or a particular entry that is completely different from other entries. And that's a different way, that's a simple way I can define for you an entity. So for example, let us look at different entities that we have here. A customer, this is a separate thing. A customer is not the same as a product. So a customer will need his own table. Why? Because this customer, they have some things in common. So in case we record the information about customers in one table, then it means that we will not have wasted cells. Why? Because the customers, they have similar attributes or similar properties. So if we record the customer's information, it means that in a one table, it means that we will not waste we will not waste the spaces. Another problem is, okay, and that's the first entity. Let us define our entity. So we agree that we will need a customer's table, we will need a product table, because the product also has its own attributes or its own structure, as well as order table. So if we have these three separately or separated separately, then we will know that we will not be able to do to repeat ourselves. Also, if you go far, you can also put the address. Okay, because remember when you're entering the address, you see, one customer can have same address. Likewise, also the supplier, they have address, and remember the order also has an address, delivery address. So what if we also make another table of addresses? So in case we want an address, we'll have to select from the existing addresses. Then we'll have solved that problem of data repetition, because we'll have this table separate of customers, and the table of what? Of product separate, and the table of orders separate. So that's what we're going to do. But to design this, I'm going to use a specific system that is meant for designing these tables, just for modeling this table. Call it modeling. I'm going to use a specific system that is used for modeling the tables, so that we should be able to see the structure of our database, such that in case we are working with a team, other members should just be able to see the structure of our database and be able to do what? To contribute. Something like that. So I'll go to the software. There are so many software. You can search them on internet. Just come and search modeling software. Or can say database or data modeling software. Okay, you'll find so many softwares. They're here. Okay, but for me, I'm going to use one website that is good for me. Even Microsoft has one for modeling. For me, I'm going to use see here we have 20 modeling tools. If you come here to modeling tools, you see there is this Erwin, so you can use this Erwin to model your database. There is Archie, SQL, DBM. There's this one. There are so many. So you can find the favorable for you and then use it for what? To model your data. So me, I'm going to use one called what? One called Lucid Chart. Okay, so Lucid Chart also is used to what? To model data. So I'll just simply come and search Lucid Chart. So when you search Lucid Chart and click on Lucid Chart, you'll be able to sign up. To sign up is just simple. You just enter your username. You can log in with your Gmail, or you can do what? You can create an account. But for me, I already have a Lucid Chart an account. Okay, so I don't need to again create an account. So I'll just log in. So to log in, I'll click here. Why do you click to log in? I don't know. So we'll come to documents here in documents. That will be able to do what? I'll be able to see my different documents. So that's Lucid Chart for us. Okay, I'm going to use this Lucid Chart to what? To design the model of this database scenario. So I'm going to create a new document. This Lucid Chart is for sale. You have to purchase, but they give you 3 documents that you can create for free. Okay, just for testing, and limited to some features, but I'm going to use the free one. So I remain with one document that I can create. So I'll just simply say create new. So they have templates, they have so many things. So let me just create my own one. So new what? Lucid Chart document. So it will open, and then I'll start modeling the database. It is loading. In other words, I'm going to show you how we can separate these ones. I can as well separate them from here just for illustration, but instead of repeating myself, because even if I separate them from here, like I put the customer tables, I put the other table separately, I better go and design the ERD directly, and you also know how to design this ERD. So to design an ERD, you'll have this space. I'm here in Lucid Chart. So you can search here. Entity diagrams. You'll find here a lot of shapes that you can use. This Lucid Chart is loaded for modeling. Is used for modeling so many things, so many things. But for me, I'm just interested in what? In entity diagrams. So I can just come and click here on search, or I can click on add shape. So when I click on add shape, they'll bring me different shapes that I can use. So there are so many shapes here. There are those of data flow grouped together. There are those of Microsoft Azure. There are those, so many smart tables, whatever. There are so many here, categories. So me, I'm just interested in UML design. So I'll just search for UML, or you can just search here entity. It's all the same. So I'll just search here for UML design. I'll scroll down. UML is down, UML is down, UML is down. So here under UML, here's UML, okay. So under UML, we have class design, we have component design, we have entity relationship. So I'm just interested in entity relationship, but UML as itself, it is a huge, there is class designing and whatever, so many class design, use case design, state activities. So me, I'm just interested in what? In entity relationship. You see, end relationship is this one. So when I click on entity relationship, they'll add for me entity relationship in this panel, and I'll be able to use it. I can add as many as I want, but I'm just interested in what? In entity relationship. We can as well search it here, just entity. So sorry, entity, and then you'll see under UML there's entity relationship here. So I'll just close. Okay, so I've added just most important shapes that I'm interested in. So I've got to do what? I've got to start designing. So to design, I'll simply drag and drop an entity here. So an entity means a particular table, like one or a particular data that is related, okay, or we can call it a table. So in this table, what I'm going to do, I'm going to add, oh sorry, is it the right table? Let me just add the old UML. Let me add the old UML and I'll see what I'll use from there. So I'll select it all and then say use. So I want this. Where is it? I cannot see it. Not this one. Not this one. I wanted columns with rows with columns. Did I just close it? I'll first pause the video and find it out. Sorry, I did a mistake. So you have to search here. Let me just search entity. You just click on add shapes and search entity. Entity is not under UML. It's just entity relationship is a standalone entity relationship. You will see here entity relationship is here. Okay, so if you click on entity relationship, you will see those kind of tables separated here. So after you have the entity relationship shapes placed there, so you can select which one that you want. For example, if you want to show the data types, the properties of a table and its data type, you can select one of these. But for me, I just want the table name and the what and the attributes of that table. So just click and drag and drop this one here. So we have these items. Okay. So we begin by entering. You can even zoom, no problem. So we begin by entering the entity name. So we detected that here we have 4 different entities. We have a customer, we have a product, we have a what, we have an order and the address. So I'll begin by product. So in a product, no, we begin by supplier, because without a supplier we will not have a what, we will not have a product. So begin supplier. Okay, so this supplier will have an ID. So since this supplier is in his own table, so I can just give him an ID only, no problem. So because do not misinterpret. So this supplier will have an ID. What else will he have? Will have a name or first name, last name. Now you see we have even enough space to write, to enter the fields of particular of a particular object. Supplier, and then first name maybe has also last name. Has last name. Okay, so I want to add one more row. How do I add a row? So I click on it and then I click on insert below. Okay, it's pretty straightforward. Okay, so I can do like this. I can delete a row here. So it has maybe contact. Contact. And then it has what? It has address. But remember, we'll have a table of what? Of address. Okay, so I will have a table of what? Of address. So I'll need another table called address, because we don't need to repeat ourselves, because some people may be coming from same address. So why should we repeat again same address? So I can create another table called address. So you can copy and paste the same table. So I can just put here address. So the address will have an ID. Let me put here address ID. So this address ID is a primary key. We call it a primary key. So the primary key is a key that is a property that is not allowed to be repeated, that cannot be repeated for a certain row. For example, if we're having this as a primary key, so the database will not allow us to put another row or to insert another row that is having the same primary key. So that is having the same value. It is an ID. It is a property of a certain row that will help us to uniquely identify that row. So if I have an ID of a place, then even if the places they have same names, but they are not supposed to have the same IDs, so we can simply differentiate those places using the names. So maybe address will have an ID, maybe address name. Maybe I can also put their location and map. Google or location on map. So that address, maybe it has a map location. So let me delete this. I'll delete this one also. Boom. So I can save by simply pressing Ctrl S, and I can call this one my ERD, or I can call it shop ERD. Okay, shop entity relationship diagram. So that is my project. So I've saved. So there we are. So instead of putting address here, we'll put address ID. Okay, I'll explain that one later. Let's first put the tables. I'll explain that one later. I don't want to confuse you. So I can put here maybe supplier ID. Okay, so this one's also what? A primary key, because it is used to do what? To uniquely identify. We will use it to uniquely identify a particular supplier. So let me bold it so that you should know that it's a primary key. Let me also bold this guy that you should know that is a primary key. Okay, so that's it. So what else? We have done with the address and the customer. We need now the product ID. We need now the product table. So I can just copy the same table and paste it and modify it. Okay, Ctrl C and Ctrl V. So here I'm going to put a product. Okay, and then this product will have product ID, and it will have a name. Of course, a product must have a name. It will have a what? It will have a property. It will have a price. Okay, it will have a price. Okay, it can have photo. It can have product photo, product supplier, product. All these you can put them there. But I'll lastly put its supplier. I will not put too much strings about the product. Okay. maybe you can put product details, and maybe lastly it will have a what, maybe supplier. Okay, so I'll put the supplier, the one who supplies us this product. So that's one more table. Then we come to another table. This table is called order. Okay, it's called an order. So I'll go and create that table of order, equal to V, and then put here orders. So I can call it order or orders, no problem. So I'll put here order ID that will help me to uniquely identify a particular order. And then after order ID, we'll have the product, a list of products. For now, let us just put it as a list of product. Okay, like we'll get a way where we can put all the products in one list. But in the next class, we will advance and explain how we can put other order items in the particular list when we come to the relationships. In this class, we'll not cover that. So I'm just going to put order products. I mean products in order. I can say products, because each order will need what? Will need products. So those are the two things that we need. One more thing, we need a what? Customer who ordered this product. I mean who placed this order. Customer. And we need also delivery address. Okay, address where we'll deliver this product. Okay, this order. So I'll delete this extra row. So there we go. Those are 4 tables that we need. So in case we are to enter a product, we will not enter this product in all tables. We will enter this product information in a table of a product. And so once each product will have an ID, will have a name, will have a price, will have details, and a supplier. Each product. So we will have not, and that product will go only in this table. So we'll have not wasted the space like the way we did here. Like when we enter product, then the remaining space is wasted. So that problem will have been solved. Will have been solved. I hope you get the point. When you have to enter supplier, this information will go only in the suppliers table. So the problem of repeating ourselves, the problem of wasting space, like when you enter supplier, the product space is left empty because a product does not have the same attribute as supplier. That problem will have been solved first. And then the remaining problem of repetition, since each customer will have his own unique ID, so the database will not allow us to enter the same customer with the same ID. So that also mistake of repetition, will have solved it. So to end our today's class, we'll resume tomorrow in the next video. But to end our today's video, there's one more thing now to connect these databases to show the relationship. Because you see how they're scattered here, someone cannot understand that this one is related to this one like this. No, someone cannot understand that. So to end that, we are going to begin relating these tables, and then we'll finish out this class. Then the next class will continue and look at the advanced part of modeling the data, as well as creating our first real world database. So let us now model this. To model this, I'm going to put okay, the first thing is a supplier, of course. Supplier, let us see. A supplier is borrowing also from what? This supplier is borrowing from the address. What is he borrowing from the address? He's borrowing the address. So instead of repeating the whole address information in this supplier will have, this address will have to reference this address ID. Okay, so you can put here either address, you can put address ID. So this address ID, once we have it, then we will know all the information about that particular address, because we have the ID of that address. So we can, and with that ID, we can uniquely identify the particular address in an address table, and we have this ID or that address in this suppliers table. So we don't need again to repeat ourselves, address name, address location. Once you have the address name and address location, you have its ID. So instead of repeating ourselves, we just put the ID in a certain row of a particular customer, and we'll have solved that problem of what? Of repeating ourselves when entering the ID. So this ID that uniquely identify this address in this product, we call it a primary key. I mean, in this table, we call it a primary key. We call it a what? A primary key. Now, the ID that is borrowed from another table, we call it a foreign key. For example, here, when it comes to this table, we call it a what? A foreign key, because it is coming from a foreign table, from an external table. Without this address, they not have this address key, the address ID. So those kind of IDs, we call them foreign key. So let me give it a color so that you can simply identify these foreign keys. Let me make it gray, a little bit gray. Okay, let me give it this gray. Okay, so we'll know that this gray is a what? Foreign key. So we have now the relationship one to many, many to one, but those are, we'll discuss them in a what? In the next class. But I'm going just to connect this guy with this guy like this. So to connect, you just simply click, then you just point at it, and then you drag and drop to where it comes from. So you can see that this ID is being referenced here. So this guy said that, hey, instead of repeating this information, just give us that one of that ID. Then we'll figure it out how to get the remaining information. So we'll have not repeat ourselves. So that's how. So these symbols like one, you see here there is only one, and here there is like a tree, is called one to many relationship. What does it mean? That one customer will have many addresses. Okay, that's what it means. So it is one to many relationship. This means many, and this means one. So, but that's not it. One customer will have one address. So to do that, I just simply double click on this row, and then I can change it from here. You just click here, and then you can say the end of this row. You see, this is the start and this is the end. So if I want to say one to one, so I can just select here, and then I say one means this one. No, where is it? This is what you call one. Okay, others put zeros and whatever. So you see, one customer has one address. Okay, so that's the relationship. One customer will have only one address. Okay, so we go to products. So I think the customer table is done. So go to products. How is the product related to the what? To the supplier. Of course, this product related to the supplier are this supplier part. Okay, so I can even put here supplier what? I can put supplier ID. It's not necessary to put supplier ID, but me, I'm just putting supplier ID so that we can relate. So this will be a supplier's ID. Let me also make it a little bit gray. That you should know that it comes from external table. And this one is what we call a what? When it comes this table, because here we can uniquely identify a supplier using his ID. Okay. Okay. Remember, you can uniquely identify a supplier using his ID. So here I put supplier ID. So this supplier ID, it will come from this table. Then we know, once we maybe assume that we bought cassava. So we know the cassava, we give the price, we give the details of this cassava. Now at the point of supplier, we don't need again to write supplier phone number, supplier first name. If we do the same, then we will have repeated ourselves. But how do you solve this? We solve this by referencing from another table, because this supplier information is already fed in another table. And we use a primary key to uniquely identify this. So I'm going to link this with this one. So to link, you just simply drag and drop and point here. So you come here and change the relationship. So what is the relationship before I even change? What is the relationship here? Okay, the relationship won't be the same. So what does it mean? It means that one supplier can give us many products. That is true. So I'll leave it the way it is. So a particular product will have one supplier, but one supplier will have many products. So if I change this one to many, it means that a particular product may have many suppliers, which is not right. Okay, so one particular product will have one supplier, or you can say one supplier can give us many products. So that is the relationship. So I'll not need to change it again. So that's the relationship between a supplier and a what? And a product. What else? Do you still have any other relationship here? No. So remaining with one more relationship. So the relationship that we're going to put now is the order. So this order is going to be referencing from is going to reference the word, the products. Of course, we're going to have the products. So this will reference the product. Okay. So instead of putting product, I can put products. But this one, they have a question mark. Let me just put product for the sake of now. I'll discuss the dilemma here tomorrow or in the next video. But let me just put here product ID for the sake just. But remember, one product, we can have one order with many IDs. So with many products. So let me change this one to what? To what? I'll change it to I'll change it to what? I'll change it to gray. Okay, so I'll change this one also. Address is also going to be a primary what? I mean, it's going to be a foreign key ID. So I'll change this one also maybe to gray. Okay, so after doing that, now I have to link the two. So I'll have to come here, order ID. So this order ID, I mean product ID, will have to come here in the product. Okay, but the relationship is wrong. It means that one product can be in many orders. Okay, or many order can have one product. One product can have many orders. That's the relationship. Okay, so this is meeting here. Many products can be in, this is many to many. Yeah, so I'll change this one also to many, because many products can be in many orders. Okay, and many orders can have many products. So it is many to many. So I'll change the relationship here. So at the end I'll make it like this. Many to many. So I'll start at the end. I'll also make it many. So many products can be in many orders, and many orders can have many products. So many to many. So, but I'll explain in details in the next video about this. Okay. Then lastly, of course, you can also create a table of customers, but that table of customers will pretty much look like that table of what? Of suppliers, because they're human beings, and all of us, they have same attributes. So you can even record here, instead of putting user of customers, you can put users, and then you be changing the type, whether the type is a supplier or what, or a customer. Okay, you can also do that, or you can create a separate table, because the same attributes of this is going to be almost the same attribute of what? Of this order, of a customer. So what else I need to put now? The ID, the address ID, where we're going to ship this product at. So this one's also going to be referencing from here. Okay, like this. So one order will have many addresses. That is not true. One order will have one address. Okay, but one address will have many orders. I mean many orders may have same address. So it will be many to one. So I'm going to just switch them. Like this. You just click here, switch, and then they'll be switched. So one address, no, this one now should be moved on top. No. This one should be moved on top here, like it is referencing from the ID. So one ID may have many. I mean one product may have many customers. I mean one order will have one ID, but one order will have many, I don't know, I should say, one address may exist in many orders, but one order will have one address. So lastly, let me put a customer table. I can just copy this and paste and then move it here. You can also make sure that your table is organized in a better way, in a way that the lines are not crossing each other. It's not a crime to cross a line, but you have to design it in a way that the lines don't cross each other. So what am I going to do now? I'm going to relate this customer. So this one's also going to be a foreign key. So it's going to be customer, right? Customer ID, and change it to kind of gray, and then link that customer ID with supplier. Yes, I'm going to change this information to what? Customer. So change this one to what? Customer, not supplier. Let me call just customer table, and then this one be customer ID, and I will bold it and change it to color of black. So there we go. So we will have created our ERD. That's what we call entity relationship diagram, whereby we won't repeat ourselves anymore. So we have minimized the repetition, though there are some small things that we have to work on, and I'll explain those small things in the next video. But by doing that, we will have that's not normalizing. We will talk about normalizing the next video. We'll have created we'll have designed our database in a better way, in a relationship way. Like, we won't even repeat ourselves. Okay, we won't repeat ourselves by the use of foreign keys and the primary keys. So I hope this video was grateful to you. If it was, then you should consider doing the same things by yourself. Just practice. You can give yourself a challenge and practice. Maybe try to create the school database. Just come and search here, ERD. Okay, come and search ERD. Okay, entity relationship diagrams. Come to maps, to images, and you will see different challenges of images, of relationship databases. So if you mess up with the database, you will remain crying in the rest of your project. It's the first thing that you always design at first, and you have to be good to design databases, models, so that your project can be effective. Otherwise, if you design your database badly, in the remaining of your project, you will cry. For example, this is an ERD for what? What was it for? I think it's for shipping company or a transportation company. See, they have stage, they have the transaction, they have the they have the controller. So you see here where there's this first row, there's a primary key. There's a description of this item, which is primary key. You can also use this kind of tables. You see they're here. You see this one. So you can do this entity, and this entity, this first one, you describe whether it's a primary key or is a foreign key. That is also another one way you can do it. So foreign key, you can put FK, and for primary key, you put PK. So you see, that's the meaning of this PK, primary key. So you can see how they're related. So you can find different challenges. There's school databases. This is a database for what? This is an ERD. You see album. This is, I think, for gallery. There's a photo, a location of a photo, the people in this photo, the comments of this photo, and the tags of the photo. You see, that's another ERD. So come and play with these things, and from playing with them, then you'll become good at them. You'll become good at them. Otherwise, it's a wide topic. Search about ERD. In the link of this, in the description of this video, I'll put also links that will help you with short videos that can help you with ERD understanding or entity relationship diagram designing for you to understand them properly, and you'll find them helpful. Yeah, because this concept, you cannot just grasp them in the first day. You have to play with them so many times, do different challenges for you to understand how to design. No one is best in designing the ERDs, okay? But you can become better and better again and again. For example, another one could have left with the addresses for the suppliers here and another here, but that could also be okay, but you will have repeated yourself. But maybe also another one could find a way whereby he don't even repeat the ID of this supplier. But for me, I've repeated myself. That's up to my best. So you can also practice and even become better than me. You see, this address has to reference here again, okay? As well as there. So see this address, it is referencing from the address ID. So that's it for today. I'll put the links of videos that can be helpful to you in the description of this video, and give yourself a challenge by practicing different ERDs. You can find them on Google search, just search ERDs models, and then you'll find so many different, and you can choose some of them to do challenges. I'll also put some notes where you can learn more about the ERD. I'll put the link in the description of this video. Okay, thank you for learning and thank you for watching. Yeah, see you in the next video where we'll learn advanced modeling of database. And remember to practice. If you don't practice, then you will end up losing it. Okay, thank you for watching.